the Postmodern Art Podcast, the podcast dedicated to giving artists who are wandering the world over the platform they deserve. I am your host, Aiden Ragland, and it's that time of year again, folks. It's time for the 2025 version of Amateur April. The time of year to where I like to highlight artists that have, relatively speaking, a small following that I think you should be hearing about today. And to put it bluntly, for today's episode, I think it's wild that you guys have not heard about this artist until now. Today's guest is Wild, a musician and content creator whose good vibes and smooth flow can be seen in all of his content. Wild is someone that I've gotten to know thanks to another guest of the podcast, the wonderful Bill Callis, and sincerely, ever since I've gotten a chance to know him, it's just been absolute fun. He has an absolute personality through and through, and I think you guys are going to absolutely see that and love it just as much as I have for the past however many months I've gotten to know him. If you do enjoy our guest, please make sure you support him with the links down in the description below. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. Leave 5 stars wherever you can. You know I see that stuff, and you know it genuinely makes my day. If you want to go a little further with that support, may I recommend you check out our merch shop on fourthwall.com with that link in the description below. We have some outstanding merch as done by some amazing artists, especially ones such as former guests, Roshan Galaxy, with the logo that you do see at the beginning of the podcast. So I think you would look fantastic with that logo on your chest. I think it would look fantastic on you today, so check out that merch shop. And look, if all you want is a nice, cool, casual place where you can meet some of the former guests or other fans in this community and really grow showcasing your art and such, may I recommend you check out our Discord server, the Artist Sanctuary. We've already been able to develop quite a eclectic group of incredible people, and I think you would be a fantastic addition to that group today. But now, without further ado, please enjoy the Postmodern Art Podcast. Thank you so much for doing this, by the way, man. This is gonna be awesome. I know this is gonna be a fun time.
I'm nervous, but I'm excited. It's good anxiety, so I appreciate just being
Why
here,
are
being
you
asked.
of all people nervous of this? Come on, like this is rap.
I don't know. I don't know, man. I just feel like I don't know. My resume isn't as extensive, you know.
Well, that actually kind of like leans into your favor when it comes to when this episode's coming out in a way, because I have this I had this episode coming out in April, and the way I set up my April is what I like to call Amateur April. It's for
perfect.
Yeah, it's for people that, you know, have some stuff out there, but like aren't as like they aren't, how should I word this? Like, you know, you've seen the kind of guests I bring on the podcast or whatnot. Like you've seen some of the bigger names more than anything else. Like I want to dedicate like just an entire month. And I've done this for years now, but I like to dedicate like just an entire month of just people that I think deserve more of a following just because of how talented of an artist that they are. And, you know, and like just getting more eyes and ears on that person so that as they do more, they grow as, you know, with their audience and such. So
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, no,
I'm just grateful for the opportunity, man. I'm a real grateful guy.
Well, it is an honor and a pleasure for me as well. All right. I mean,
all right.
All right, Wild, before we really do get going, I must ask the icebreaker question of the podcast, if I may. Let's say you get to go to a desert island on your own accord. It is just you alone with your thoughts. You get to kick back, relax, breathe, get to truly enjoy yourself for a little bit. With accommodations. I shouldn't say stranded, more like just a personal like B&B paradise away from society for a little bit, with all the amenities and stuff.
Naturally.
Exactly, naturally. To make sure you don't go fully insane on this island, you can bring one piece of media or one piece of art with you to help with whatever kind of headspace you want on this island. If given this opportunity, what would that one piece be?
Holy shit. That's an incredible question.
Thank you.
One piece of media or art.
Mm-hmm.
God, it would have to be something involving pro wrestling, I gotta be honest. It gotta be something it gotta be like, I'd probably say, oh man, oh dude. All right, this is gonna be a fucking hour. Off the top of my head, man, it probably had to be, probably my childhood iPod that I had when I was a kid for music. because I used to have a lot of wrestling themes in that iPod. So
nice.
that'll cover everything, music and wrestling and everything.
No, honestly, that's a good thing. One, you get to, I don't know if you still have it or whatnot, but like if nothing else, like if you don't have it, hey, it's a cool way for you to get that like nice little bit of nostalgia right back in your hand more than anything else.
Absolutely.
What was I have to ask because one, I think you and I have been in enough conversations. We know how big of wrestling fans we are or whatnot. So what was it about? What were the wrestling themes for you, especially growing up, that like you was absolutely on that iPod, and every single time you like turned that thing on, you had to listen to it?
Number one, probably of all time, has to be "This Fire Burns," which was CM Punk's first theme song.
There we go.
Kill Switch Engage. That Slow Chemical, which there's no other Kane theme past Slow Chemical in my eyes.
Fair enough.
And also, I mean, mute my phone. So probably had to be, definitely "This Fire Burns." I was a huge CM Punk guy growing up as a kid. That was my guy. So that would probably be the first one I'd have to listen to.
How do you feel about CM Punk now?
Hey, listen, I mean, I think he's controversial, but I think he's doing his job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like right now he's doing his job, so I can't really complain about the guy.
I'll say I feel like he's so much happier now than he was like literally 2 years ago, like 3 years ago. And I'm so grateful for that.
Oh, absolutely. I completely agree. But, I just like seeing him in I was gonna say I like seeing him in a better place now.
Exactly. That's why I've always been from day one. But regardless, that classic childhood iPod with all the wrestling themes on it, that is your answer. You're locking that in.
I'm locking that in, man.
Then if that's the case, I cannot think of a better way to start the Postmodern Art Podcast. Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Nathan Ragland. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, or follow whatever audio streaming platform you prefer. You would look fantastic in the merch that we have at the merch shop, fourthwall.com. Link to that is in the description below. And follow us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and most social media platforms at Postmod Art Pod for future updates and guest announcements, including today's guest. He is a musician and content creator whose good vibes and smooth flow can be seen in all of his content. Welcome to the podcast, Jorge, a.k.a. Wild!
Incredible. Incredible. Okay.
Thank you.
Nothing's ever going to top that. That's great. All right.
Hey, look, wow. I am a person that tries to give that platform, give that pedestal to the guests, and I feel like I have to give like the best intro I possibly could for you. So there you go.
Thank you so much, man.
No problem. How you doing today, bud?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Just preparing for this because this is my podcast interview debut, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just happy to be here, excited to be here and talk about whatever, man.
Well, I am happy to have you here as well because you and I have really gotten the chance to know each other in the past few months or however long we've gotten to know each other at this point. It's been an absolute blast just being in calls with you every single time, and especially when I got to learn more about what you're producing out there and what you're putting out there into the world. I had to give you an opportunity to step on this podcast and talk about all that incredible stuff you got a hand in. But before we talk about the stuff you're working on nowadays, I want to go back just a little bit and learn more or less the origin story of Wild. What got you interested in the arts of any sort in the first place?
I feel like I always had a sense of great question, brother. I feel like I always had a sense of entertaining within me. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that comes from I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it comes from like the troubles of my childhood, whether it's like school or family life or whatever. But I feel like I always felt the need to be completely blunt. I think I always wanted to be liked by people. Maybe because I wasn't feeling that in certain areas. Now, when it comes to specific content, I would definitely say it started with music first.
Okay.
And that specifically came from. Not to bring the mood down, but it specifically came from dealing with like pain and dealing with trauma and dealing with things that I went through.
Right.
And the first rap song, because hip hop is what started. Hip hop and rap is this that started my whole music journey. Right. I didn't know what music was really, besides what was like playing growing up, like in the background. But the first rap song I ever heard was "When I'm Gone" by Eminem, a song about his daughters.
Right.
And to me, as much as it was, it's a great emotional storytelling song, I was just completely hyper fixated on like this dude took painful shit and he turned it into something else that now I'm listening to. And just that simple equation of 2 + 2 is 4 I was hooked immediately. So I would actually say, like, although I'm a pretty chill guy now, or I try to be, a
Right.
lot of my art comes from kind of painful places, and especially with music, it was a therapeutic thing,
No,
just
that's
getting my thoughts out and shit like that,
no, that's extremely valid. I mean, we all get inspiration from elsewhere, and there's a lot. I mean, you talked about a great example when it comes to Eminem. How much of his song came from pain in the first place, just in general,
Hmm.
in one form or fashion. But like, you know, there's always a wide range of stuff that a wide range of emotions that art could be inspired from, and everyone takes a little differently from somewhere. I know one of my favorite artists, Tyler the Creator, like it's there's a good chunk of his catalog to where if you listen to it, there is a lot of pain in what he raps about and what he
Hmm.
talks about and such.
Actually.
Um, I'm curious as well. Like you said that like Eminem, at least the one song that was kind of the moment where it kind of clicked for you of how music can be used to express
Hmm.
emotions or whatnot. What other artists or what other songs like really helped like I guess reinforce those emotions and really helped get you in that kind of mentality of like, man, I feel what this person's laying down. Like I understand where they're coming from. Like what were some of those early rappers that I guess inspired you in a way?
Well, I was kind of grateful. I'm always grateful, and I was very lucky to kind of start past my time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I kind of started before my time because my dad was a hip hop head.
Okay.
I mean, when he was around, so but he was one that showed me that song. So then I would just listen to whatever he had.
Okay.
So listening to Wu Tang and Nas and going like to like starting there, and eventually Kendrick and J. Cole, just really
Yes.
lyrical stuff, like really that's what I've attached to. But then I'm not gonna lie, then as I got older, in my teenager like years and stuff like that, there were actually some more modern rappers that also hit me in a similar way, but that were different. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people will say the Tupacs, the Biggies, but a lot of people won't say Black Thought. A lot of
Right.
people won't say like real early Logic.
Mm-hmm.
Some people won't say, you know, um, like for me, Juice World was a big thing for me. Like, even though he was totally different than my style
Right.
from what I was growing up around, like when I started Juice World, that kid, and I say kid because I've outlived him
Right.
somehow. He was incredible, and I was like, oh, that's someone like if I identified with the person, that was the deepest thing for me, and I identified with him because I understood where he was coming from. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not a tough guy. I'm not, trying to be like a street dude, but I'm from Jersey. My family grew up poor.
Right.
My mom, single mother. My father wasn't around, and I mean, were we the poorest? I'm not gonna sit here and that's not a competition, but we moved around a lot. I feel like, and my mother, did her best, and she always, working multiple jobs. I feel like at points, she did what she had to do. So I understood. I was a black sheep of my family.
Mm-hmm.
I still am. I was bullied. Like I was, I have a lot of those similar stories. So for me, those artists that like the defiance, like even a little bit of like XXX Tentacion, like I didn't listen to him really while he was around, and that was my, but when he passed, I then went back and listened to a lot of his catalog, and I was like, wow, this is another kid that I could relate to. Um, but yeah, man, just the storytellers talking about life. Big Pun was
Yep.
another big inspiration for me. Him being Puerto Rican, me being Puerto Rican and Cuban.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, just the real shit. You know what I mean? Just the real hard hitting stuff, regardless on if it's melodic or lyrical.
Yeah.
If it's real, it's if it's real, it's real. You know what I mean? Like, and it's gonna hit everybody different. Those are the things that I think I always attached to and latched onto.
I think that's why I lean more towards like rap and hip hop sometimes when it comes to certain music genres or whatnot, because more than anything else, whether it is melodic or whether it is lyrical, more than anything else, at the base of it, a lot of it is real. Like a lot of it. Now,
Absolutely.
now, of course, there's the ones that like for example, like a Future or whatnot. I don't know why it's the first one I think about, but talk about like all the cars and all the girls that they get, but like that's also their reality. That's what's real to them.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I've always felt the same way. Like, it might not be your cup of tea. You might not be able to fully attach to somebody like Future or whatever. But they're still talented in their own ways. Like I don't I used to try to have that mentality, especially when I was like really deep in the lyrical bag of like all this new stuff is garbage, and
Mm-hmm.
but then you know what it is? I just listened to it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I can understand for what it is. It might not be my preferred, but you know, it is what it is. And I can't, you know, and actually that's when then not only listen to melodic rap and other kind of styles of rap, then that opened my mind to like, you know, rock and other genres. I listen to a lot of different things now, you know, because I just try to find, to me, what feels the least manufactured.
Exactly.
And that's and for me, rock and alternative music also kind of filled that need too. You know what I mean? A lot of it was pure emotion stuff, you know, like, you know, I'm not really a radio guy, but certain artists, I mean, I even love, like, I love Doja Cat's old stuff. I thought she's a very talented person, and she hit like in a pop lane at one point, you know, and you know, so I for me, I just the real shit, whatever's the least manufactured is what I try to keep it in my memory, in my brain, you know, the things to think about.
I mean, at the end of the day, I feel like, especially in today's society or whatnot, like real recognizes real at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And that's what's going to click with a lot more audience than some of the, you know, more manufactured stuff. Like, yeah, they could push out like 20 different of the similar beats or whatnot, but like it might get popular for like a week. But like the real shit's the one that like lingers or whatnot. There's a reason why some of the biggest stars, like a Taylor Swift or like a Kendrick Lamar, has stuck around for years with pushing out stuff that, like, especially with like Kendrick pushing out stuff that's like years apart instead of like one after another or whatnot. I was also gonna say real quickly, believe it or not the first time Big Pun has been brought up on this podcast. So I love that little reference to them right there, like towards the end of your thing.
Great, that's great. You shouldn't be forgotten, man.
Oh no, absolutely. That man was a lyrical genius. You know, probably could be better in other aspects, but a wonderful lyricist.
Yeah, right.
I'm also curious at this time because, like, I could tell that, like, the music that we're listening to really helped you express, like, emotionally how you're feeling or what. But I also imagine there were probably little bits of different aspects of art that probably gave you more or less, like, a little bit of an escape when it comes to what you were dealing with at times. I'm curious if wrestling was that little bit of escape for you.
Absolutely. Wrestling, it was the first sport that I could say, like, I genuinely fell in love with. Okay. Like, you know, growing up, like, you know, my family watched football, my family watched and baseball, even a little bit of like UFC when it really caught on. But wrestling was my hook. I've been watching since I can't even remember. It was like my whole life. I feel like there wasn't a time where I wasn't watching wrestling in some aspect.
That's extremely valid. Do you remember what got you hooked onto it in the first place?
As in like what on wrestling, like
whether it be on wrestling or if you remember like a specific match or a specific pay-per-view or whatnot, like what was the first little like bit of wrestling that like you watch and you're like, oh my god, what is this, huh?
Okay, so my grandfather knew what kind of kid I was.
Okay.
And he was cool enough to, like, once you know, like, we always had a thing in our family that we never forced anybody to watch anything. We would give it one try. That's something we thought that would hook the person. Mm-hmm. And then if they didn't like it, then you go on your way, right? Yeah. I remember my grandfather was watching. I'm trying to remember the first match. Okay, because it's either one or two moments, right? It was either Macho Man's promo on Hogan after Macho had turned heel, and he was like, "No pukes to the left, no pukes to the right." Yeah, it was either that or it might have been something with Stone Cold. Okay, it had to be. It was either a promo he was cutting or some kind of attitude era moment. My grandfather knew that I had always had this high energy. I was a high energy kind of kid. So he was like, "Oh, come over here, JC." I was like, "All right," you know. I came over. I was a kid, you know, and it was one of those segments, and it was just hooked. It was immediately. That's probably say one of those moments for sure.
That's definitely a good era to definitely get into wrestling. Meanwhile, here I am getting into wrestling when I was in college in 2016. Yeah. I will say, for context, the match or the rivalry that got me at least a little bit hooked on the wrestling or whatnot was Alberto Del Rio versus Kalisto for the U.S. Championship.
Interesting. You're not going to find a lot of people that say that. That's pretty okay.
I'll tell you what definitely got me hooked. Two different things. One, going to my first live show, which was an NXT live show in Florida, and then also watching that year's Royal Rumble where Roman Reigns came out first.
And then Styles came out 3.
Yeah, Styles came out number 3. Yeah,
right?
That was 2016. Yeah. The one that eventually Triple H won, which Yeah. Anyways,
Right.
So I'm curious, there's definitely a lot of inspiration when it comes to the art growing up in one form or fashion. When did it go from this like general love and appreciation for that kind of stuff to a passion and wanting to make it your career? Like when did you want to take that next step from enjoying the stuff to making some of that stuff?
I think when it comes to music, I want to say, I mean, I want to say I was maybe like 13 when I started trying to write stuff.
Okay.
But it was still really for fun. You know, even when I was like 16, 17, like it was really like I don't think I saw any potential in it, but then I felt like I was actually getting pretty good. You know, unfortunately I deal with a lot of, you know, I guess mental health stuff, so I deal with a lot of self-doubt, but
I got you.
when I'm on, I feel like I'm on, you know, and so I want to say it's about 18, 19 where I was like, okay, man, all right, I think I could do something here. And then it just became that outlet, you know what I mean? And then funny enough, and then YouTube, I mean, I was a kid that, you know, after when I was in my teens, I just tried to shut the world out. So I'd be in my room playing video games or watching YouTube.
Yep.
And it just became like, once I saw like creators like Vanoss and like that whole group and KYR Speedy and all, like when I saw those groups going about, it was just like, oh, I was like, oh, I could make a career out of this. I just got to find friends first. And then I worked, oh, let me just do that part and then I'll be good, you know? But so I want to say like 16. Yeah, 16. I was like, fuck it. I'll just do that. Yeah, I've been on the internet since I was 16. So I was like, I'll just do, that's when I started. Yeah. Couple deleted channels later and here we are, you know, when it comes to YouTube.
No, that's valid.
So many different names. Oh my God. I remember my first YouTube name was my first gamer tag.
I'm intrigued to know what it is.
It was one of those horrible. It has numbers in it. That's how you know it's bad. It has numbers. It was the Wild Flow 1313. That was my name.
Okay, time the fuck out. That is actually no. That's legitimately cool. I love that. The Wild Flow 1313. Like you take out the 1313, the Wild Flow is like just a sick name, just in general.
Oh, you're the first ever. Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I always you know what it is the Wild name, like from day one, it was always just a word or a thing like we just said in my house growing up, like that's wild, or you know, or a wild child is something I was called as a kid. So like, it was always a name I was just familiar with. That's why I kept it.
Okay. I'm glad it's nice that little bit of your childhood or whatnot, you kind of more in your family, you kind of kept with you as you kept evolving.
Absolutely.
Evolving from the Wild Flow 1313 to Wild that we have presented today.
Actually, it was the Wild Flow 1313, and then it was Wild Lemonade for some reason.
Okay.
And then
how did you downgrade from the Wild Flow to Wild Lemonade?
Well, because I felt like I had to change all of it, and then Lemonade, I like, for me, I thought like the more random the better. I don't know what my mentality was. Like at that point I was like 17, trying to be different. You were
trying to be like a wildcat or a terrorizer at that point, just like random.
Yeah, I was trying to come up with like something random, but it would be so out there that you would remember it. That was like the kind of gimmick I was going for. And then eventually I was like, fuck this, like Wild. So like that became like my stage name for music, and then I did the Wild Plays Games channel, which is what so like a lot of my branding, you know, it gets a little confusing sometimes to people, like, why do you have the 2 V's on music? Because like that's more of a persona. And then, you know, I still go by Jorge, or I still go by JC, or, you know, some people still call me George to this day, you know. So like it's you know, but Wild and me have always been just those 2 words have always just gone together, you know. So it's just, I'm glad I just stuck it to the one word, simple. It is what it is, and there you are. You know, so
that's valid. Plus, I just gotta say, you and I having that little bit of the connection of watching the Vanoss crew, especially like, you know, growing up or whatnot, because
absolutely.
I was around the same point. I was like, I'm not gonna say while they were their biggest, but like around the time it was like around their peak plateau area or whatnot. Like I remember watching the Banana Bus video the first time. Okay.
Yes, I was there. I was there when that video got uploaded. I was there.
I wasn't there when it got uploaded. I think I was there like right after it got uploaded. I remember it was like around, I want to say like the Call of Duty Ghosts era. or whatnot is when I really started
Really?
like watching.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of that. It's because my little brother, who's like 10 years younger than me, was like the first one interested in that stuff. And like, I don't know why, but like I started watching it with him or whatnot. I just think the stuff's funny. I've been paying attention to this day. I'm definitely gonna edit this part of the video out right here or whatnot. But unfortunately, growing up, my favorite one was Mini Lad.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Sorry to hear that.
I bought 2 of his U2s.
Damn, see, I see. That's where I get hurt. I never bought merch. I could never afford it. So I never bought merch from
like
YouTubers.
Here's the thing. I have a bunch of the U2s over there or whatnot. Like I have a good chunk of them or whatnot. It was always the clothes that I can never get, like the shirts or whatnot, because they were never in my size. Especially whenever I got money, at least they were never in my size.
Dude, I just went to DXL for the first time, and it was like fucking walking into heaven, dude.
Right? Especially whenever you need, like I said, I had to get a suit from there. I am very much aware.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yes. All right, back to what we were talking about or whatnot. I know we'll definitely talk a lot more when it comes to the content creation stuff in a little bit, but I want to stick with the music a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. If nothing else, we'll go to the lows and the pits when it comes to that, because I know there's a lot of emotion that comes with that, and then raise ourselves up with the other stuff.
There we go.
But like, especially with the music, especially whenever, you know, knowing it where it kind of came from, I can see that easily being reflected in the music you have been able to produce or whatnot. I'm curious for you, like, what is your process and what is your inspiration when it comes to the music? Like, how exactly do you go in, like, thinking of something and it going from, like, a concept, an idea that, like, you might be able to think of, like, a verse or so for, to a finished product to where you're really putting yourself out there to the world?
I will say it takes me a lot longer to actually put something out, because for me, there's always conceptual ideas, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. And for me, I am just so anal about every little aspect. Like, the beat has to sound a certain way in my ears. The vocals have to sound. So for me, like, I'll say this, I'm always writing.
Right.
You know, for me, words and lyrics and thoughts are like just always like running around in my head rapid. So I'll always take the time to like stop, write something down. So like the lyrical stuff I'm always writing. But to actually put a song together, it usually is like I wrote something down, I like it, and then I go into a concept for like a project. Like I'm working on an EP. I've been working on it for forever. I can't. I'm like, when it comes out, I'm gonna be like, I can't believe I actually got this fucking thing out. You know?
Right.
And it's gone through a bunch of different conceptual changes. So it's a lot of like that. It's perfectionism, and a little bit of self-doubt. But when I go through that's the process. It's writing. Then I come up with a concept, and I try to make the lyrics that I wrote fit that concept. And then, like I said, it takes a while. I will say, like, I am not I hope I never get into a rap beef, because I can't do that kind of shit where you just dropping and dropping and dropping.
Right.
It takes me too long to come up like with a verse that I think is acceptable for the people. You know?
You're a perfectionist in that sense.
Absolutely.
I gotcha. It leaves me curious as well, hearing how much it can be not really a task, not even really much of a struggle, but a process. How much of a process it could be. What was the toughest song for you to produce then?
Oh my god, the toughest song to produce. It would probably have to be New Devil in Town, which is the newest song that I put out.
If you see your life flash, the sex hit like a fucking car crash. Use abuse completes his task. She rides like 150 on the dash. Please, my queen, explain to me like what the fuck you gonna do? I don't know your game, I don't know my name. You pulled the trigger and I'm not bulletproof. God.
And I would say that was probably the hardest one to put out to finally get done, because of how different it was. That was my first time kind of playing around with a different style sonically.
Right.
That wasn't, a more common hip hop instrumental and things like that. It was my first time really telling a story that wasn't really written in my point of view necessarily. You know what I mean? It was really the most different thing I've ever done. Vocally different, me hitting vocals that I don't really do, because I'm a little insecure in those aspects. So
right.
That was a whole different experience, and I couldn't believe I got it done. I couldn't believe that. I was like genuinely surprised with like a lot of people really like that song, and I was like, that's cool, that's great. I'm happy. I was like, cool. I was like, You know what I mean? Like I took a breath. I was like, thank God. You know?
No, absolutely. I can understand, especially listening to that one, kind of the unique like technique and flow that you kind of had with that one was certainly different to some of your other ones. I will say for me personally, listening through your music catalog or whatnot, Her Eyes, I don't know what it is about that song, but like that's the one that like hooks me.
But the devil's in the details. I can see it in her eyes. All these evil things she's trying. Hey, first off, this ain't about you. Now that we got that out the way, lived controlled so long, I forgot how my own stress weigh. I don't gotta split my pay stuff. Worry about the way I create stuff. That being alone get me way tough.
That's the one that like I go back to, just because I don't like, I don't know if it's just how the beat is or whatnot, or just like your lyrics in general or whatnot, but like it has me in a trance sometimes listening to that song, you know.
That is so, it's so funny because you're not the first person to tell me that, and it's so funny because Her Eyes, and I'm not even trying to, you know, saying it like, I'm not trying to like downplay myself at all, but like Her Eyes was a song that I didn't expect that much love for, because it was really, there wasn't a lot of planning behind it. I really just had an emotional release on paper, and I kind of just like, in almost like a manic episode, just like put it out because I felt like I wanted to be heard about a relationship I was dealing with at the time, and or I had just finished dealing with, and I was lingering emotions, and I thought structurally it was like, it wasn't that complex, and people are like, yeah, that's the song. I'm like, really? You know, it's like it's always like the thing you least expect, right?
Right.
I have people to this day be like, yo, I still love this song, and I'm like, wow, you know, that's so I appreciate that. It's really dope to hear, man.
I mean, absolutely. I hearing that, and especially hearing some of those other songs or whatnot, I can only imagine like I kind of hinted at it with the previous question or whatnot, but I can only imagine how much of yourself it like takes out of you to like really put yourself out there with these songs. Like how much emotionally do you invest in these songs that you produce for yourself?
Oh, I feel like I put as much as myself into it as possible, because for me, like, I'm so, and someone said this to me. So artist, her name's Justy. She's out of New York. Really cool people.
I know Justy.
You know her? Oh
yes.
Yeah, no, she's great.
Oh my God, I've been wanting to get her on the podcast for a bit. Like, she's phenomenal.
Oh, that's great. I met her on TikTok. Yeah, we were supposed to collab with something, but I've been in some of her lives, and we never got around to collabing on anything.
Okay.
But just because you know, as I said, for me, it takes forever for me to, you know, get in between stuff. But
that's valid.
Yeah. So she told me, I remember because I played I played Her Eyes stuff for her before I put it out, I think, and she was like, "You're so vulnerable. You're so like honest and transparent." And I'm like, that's all I know how to do. Like for me, like a lot of rapping, a lot of the stuff, like at least when it comes to like, not the wrestling things, which I know you want to get into later.
We'll talk about in a second. Don't worry about that. But
but when it comes to my catalog, it's almost like talking to somebody. Like, I don't know how to not be transparent. Right. I don't know how to not, you know, which is why sometimes my songs. So I feel sometimes my music isn't always like it's not always like the most bouncy and high energy. A lot of it can be a little lower energy and a lot of stuff like that. But it's just me being honest. You know, I feel like I can't make me like, I mean, and I've tried, like I've done that thing where I'm like, all right, man, let's just get a fucking heavy fucking bass beat. Let's rap about flexing and shit. But then if I'm not feeling that way about myself in that moment, those lyrics it'll never come to fruition.
Right.
Like so I can't write those songs. So it is what it is, you know?
No, that's valid. I mean, not every single song has to be like the same hype and energy and kind of disdain as you would have with like Not Like Us, all right? Like sometimes like sometimes you have to get like really emotional and into yourself, like it's Mr. Morale, you know? Like from that album, you know? Like
I love that album.
Oh no, it's a great album. Definitely one that you need to be in a certain headspace to really understand, because I think when it came out, people were expecting like the next like Damn or, you know, To Pimp a Butterfly or whatnot, not, you know, basically therapy album.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, like I can, especially listen to your catalog, I can really get that kind of like Justy said, that vulnerability that you really have like with your music or whatnot. it does leave me curious as well. Like, I can only imagine, if given the opportunity, how much of a soul searching journey it has to be whenever you do get the opportunity to get an EP out there, like to get like a full like handful of songs out there with how much emotion you put into your stuff.
Oh my God. I mean, there's times where there's times where like I have to tell my girl to like, honey, you gotta like leave me alone for a while. There's times where I have to be so introspective, because to me, I feel like it leads into kind of like my perfectionistness, which is like, for me, like if I'm not being 100% me,
Right.
you know, if it's not literally my inner self on the page or in the music, then I feel like it's not good enough. Like for me, like there's this loyalty to authenticity I have when it comes to my music. Like, you know, I think when it comes to like YouTube videos, you know, I play up a little bit. Certain things, certain medias you play up a bit. My music, it's impossible for me. Like I just can't. I feel like I can't make music any other way.
Right.
It's like a religion. It's like a religion. Like it's like an obedience. I can't. It just does everything on my body will reject the words coming, like the words appearing on the page, if it's not coming from within into that core level. And I know that sounds very dramatic, but like it's just real.
Yeah.
It's just me being real. Like that, you know, there's times where like I'm writing about something happy. There's something I'll write about something happy, and then like if I were to get upset thinking about something in the moment, I have to turn the page and write something completely new.
Right.
Because of how my mindset is in that change of moment, you know. It's a commitment.
No, absolutely.
So it's all of it is the answer. All of it. That's how much soul search. All of it.
No, that is extremely valid. Again, like I said, whenever I listen to at least your personal songs, I definitely get the all of it aspect of it. I totally understand where you're coming from. I imagine like the good vibes or the good energies or whatnot is really put into the wrestling themes that you produce, I assume, right?
Absolutely. It was also because that's not me.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's the brilliance of it. I kind of take myself out of the equation. You know what I mean?
I
might have a braggadocious line where I name drop myself because, you know, it's hip hop.
Yeah.
But no, that's what helps me do those, is that I just think not me. It's not me. So I'm fine.
How did you get the opportunity to even make themes for independent wrestlers out there in the first place?
All right, so this is the part where I talk about my big brother. So this is all right. So I met independent wrestler by the name of Casey Navarro.
Yep.
A few years ago.
I've heard of Casey before, believe it or not.
Yes, he's currently wrestling in TNA, part of First Class. Proud of him, because, you know, going back, goodness, it hasn't been super duper long, but I feel like I want to say like 5 years already. 20. I want maybe a little less than that. I've known him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I met him, and he was a wrestler, and, you know, I had already been watching him, and I remember, you know, when we met, I don't know if he agrees with this, but I kind of, after I had my moment of like, oh wow, you're a wrestler, I kind of just treated him like a regular person.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like in a business, I mean, it's probably definitely, I don't want to use the word worse, but it's probably a little more intense with like people who, like, you meet people on the street and it's like, oh, you're a wrestler. You know, it's probably a little more like the glazing, I guess, in that aspect.
Right.
But for me, you know, after like meeting him, you know, I had that moment of like, wow, you know, your wrestler is really cool. You know, he just became just like a friend, you know what I mean? And I feel like he kind of respected that I wasn't just that guy, like, you know, glazing like every time I saw him. He just became a friend. And I think, you know, over time, you know, our friendship, you know, we used to hang out, and he was always, one thing I'll say about the guy, not to make the whole thing about him, is that he truly is everything he says he is, you know, when he talks about where he comes from and the commitment and the humbleness and the, you know, the confidence in himself to push himself where he needs to be, and he's disciplined, and he's pulled me up from the dirt a million times when it comes to my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it turns out that what happened was pretty much, I want to say around 2020, 2021, this is a pandemic era. This, you know, the whole world was shut down where it was. And he was trying to, you know, like really change up his character and really trying to go a certain direction. He was coming out to a song by an artist by the name of Montesi, who's another dope guy, really cool dude. I haven't talked to him in forever, but he makes a lot of themes for people, and he's an excellent artist. But so he's talking to me, and he's like, "Yo, man, I feel like I need something a little more intense, just because, my character's going through this dramatic change, and I have to chip on my shoulder, whatever." And he's spitballing, and I guess in the moment, because we're friends, we're already like established, friends at this point. I guess he forgot that I make music, and I'm a wrestling fan. So he's like, "Yeah, man, I want to find something." And I go, "You want me to just make something?" And he was like, "Oh, you could do that, right?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yeah, I could do that." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So, so I was working on a separate project at the time that's since been scrapped, but I had put out the intro, to that album, like before as a single. I don't know what I was thinking. And it was called Everything Intro, and I put it out as a single, and Casey had heard that. He heard the song, and this is like after we had the conversation, and he's like, "Dude, that's the exact energy I want, and I love the hook." He was like, "Would you be willing to just remix this and just like change the lyrics up a little bit?" And there you go. I was like, "All right." And that became his first theme, and everywhere he was wrestling, people like loved it. It immediately grabbed your eye. It immediately kind of just grabbed you because of the aggressiveness of the lyrics. And kind of just hit it off from there. From there, now I've made all his themes since. He's had 2 more themes since then.
Yep.
And then then I started the real fun became traveling with him to certain shows.
Okay.
I've made a few stops at House of Glory. Which is up there in New York. So I've made a few stops there, where I met a couple people, really cool people. And another friend of mine goes by Malik Delvante, who's another wrestler, another one in our circle. I made his song. And then just now as they're traveling Jersey, and Casey obviously now he's at TNA, but before he was traveling way more.
Yep.
His song is starting to appear. I mean, I remember he did his second theme. He did a New Japan Super Show. It was in Philly, I want to say, but it was a New Japan Super Show. So that my song's getting played. My voice is over there now. My voice. He did. I think he did Progress over there in England. Now my voice is over there, and people are starting to go, "Yo, who's this guy?" Because who's this guy? So I ended up doing a couple songs. I actually ended up doing just one more during my time. Which was I ended up doing for a guy named Adam Lockwood.
Okay.
I did his theme, and then I linked up with a guy named Corey Dillinger, another good wrestler. I have him locked in for one theme, and I'm supposed to do another one for him. In the time comes, whoever I'm going to be the first guy he goes to. But yeah, so that's really it's just spur of the moment. I don't think I'm going to be doing those for too much longer, unless it's like Casey or unless it's like Malik, because I don't want to be boxed in,
Right, but, right. No, that's valid.
But I always had a great experience, and it was always easy. And I remember, people would tell me, like, close to me, they would come out and I'd put the theme out, and they'd be like, where's this coming? Because again, my music is so introspective, right? And then you go to like a theme of somebody, like, wow, you're really you're really speaking as this other person, like, and I would say that it's a great time. Casey's, like, for example, all 3 of his themes, I never had to write anything. It was all in the booth, just freestyling.
Oh, that's incredible to hear, honestly.
Yeah. I didn't have to write any of those themes because I just knew him already. It was already we were already boys. I didn't have to. Same thing for Malik. Like, we were already boys, so like I didn't have to write that. I made Malik Delvante's theme song, and no bullshit, maybe like 20 minutes.
Oh shit!
I made his whole theme, so it was already done.
Casual flex, but okay.
No, something like that, right? No, I'm just saying, no. So it was, but I always had a great time doing it. It's just, I especially with a lot of changes going in my life currently, I'm now trying to anchor down and get back into my bag over here and make a little bit more of that.
Right. No, absolutely. Although I just did want to say real quick, like, me personally, listening to the wrestling themes as well, you did something different with Corey Dillinger's theme. That song hits different.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know what it is about that one, but that one hits different, man.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to clip some of these things and put it on Instagram and tag these people in there.
Oh no, absolutely. No, dude, trust me. Take all the clips that you can from this thing and let people know about this bad boy. All right, let them know.
Absolutely.
Let them know that we're here to represent them and shout them out.
There you go.
I mean, if nothing else, I'm gonna be sure to link your Spotify and stuff in the description of this episode so people can go and listen to some of these themes or whatnot and know what exactly.
Oh, please do. Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Please do.
It does leave me like I also imagine like part of that love for like the themes or like the mentality that comes with themes is back to that love of wrestling, especially whenever you try to like somewhat dip your toes in that world in one sense, mainly with the creator wrestler like mentality or like leagues or whatnot. Because I know this is something that our good friend Bill Callis had mentioned or whatnot. I'm curious, how did you get into those worlds?
I got into those worlds, honestly, and it's so funny because I figured this was gonna come up because we both love Bill Callis.
Shout out Bill,
close friend of mine. 10 years, I've been friends with that guy for 10 years.
Yep.
So yeah, no, so that honestly came from, like I said, my love of wrestling. I was already playing. I was already a gamer at that point, and when I started falling for another love of mine, which was voice acting. And acting. I really where it came from. And I was always a big movie guy, and I loved movies, and I love voiceover, and I loved anime and things like that. So falling into that is really what drove me, because I'm going online one day, and I'm looking, these people are creating characters in the video in the video games, and they're making storylines, and they're like telling stories. And stories to me, I mean, besides writing my own, stories are to me some of those interesting pieces of art, period, that we have in the world. So I was like, oh my God, I can contribute to this. I mean, I'm already playing the wrestling video games. I'm already creating here. I'm already doing this. Just, in my head, I could do this on screen.
Right.
So, and then meeting Bill was all by happenstance. There's a guy goes by Malachi, or Bitterman is his socials.
Okay.
I no bullshit, I was playing W2K 14. This is about 10 years ago. Like I said.
Yep.
About 10 years ago, and I was playing like the online, like where you just go online, you just play somebody random. I ended up playing Malachi, and we're playing this match, and I got very close to beat him. I didn't beat him, and this is back to 360 days. I get an invite, to a party. And I had never done one of those before. I'd never joined one because I didn't have friends. But this is right around when the YouTube thing started. I was like, I gotta find friends. So I was like, fuck it. I accept. And he's like, yo, man, you're pretty good, man. You're pretty good. And you want to do this thing? We do this creator wrestler thing. You want to do this? I like, because I use a custom character. I use my custom character. So he saw that. He's like, oh, okay. Guy make custom characters. So he was like, you want to join this thing? And I was like, fuck it, sure, why not?
Right.
He goes, all right, I'm gonna invite you to a bigger party. Accept it and I accept it, and then I meet him, and I meet some other people, and I meet Bill, and then that's where I was hooked. There's like, this is what I do for my character. And then it became character creation. It became storytelling. It became so all these different things just immediately. I'm being told to me. I'm immediately just thrown into this world, and that was the rest is history. Now I, part of playing the games every year is I just start making characters. And I start coming up with stories, and I made a YouTube channel on the side where, I do that. It's a little private thing I do. Okay. Like my friend Bill Callis, and, we were telling wrestling stories, and it's really like a side hustle. Like, it's not really like, that's not even like, I'm not even trying to get views on that. That's just for me and Bill. That's just
to let that creativity flow on its own more.
That's just a passion project. You know what I mean? That's just me messing around. Like, but I really did enjoy it, and then, like I said, that led to, because like I said, we're cutting promos, which, if people don't know, promos are, the segments in wrestling where some guy gets on a mic and, is trash talking or is, hyping himself up. And so that again led into the voice acting, which is something I was already interested in. And without doing the wrestling stuff, like the character creations, without meeting Bill, without meeting Malachi, I don't think I would have been doing voice acting the way I want to now. You know what I mean? Right. I don't think I would have the passion for it. So it all came together nicely because then Bill fell into voice acting, and then I met you, and then and then here we are. So this is
then
great.
Here we are. Oh, it's so wonderful. I am curious because especially when it comes to those creative wrestlers and whatnot, like I know you probably made like a bunch of different characters for that world or whatnot. But
absolutely.
But there has to be that like one special one. Like I know Bill has his baby Zodiac or whatnot. So I'm curious. I'm curious for you. Do you have like the one that's like nearest and dearest to your heart? The one that's basically been like your day one.
Absolutely. He goes by Savage.
Savage.
In all caps. And he was a character, the closest thing to me.
Okay.
As possible. And he's my character because he is me in a lot of aspects in terms of the psyche, a lot of the, he's a very complex, troubled kind of character. He's not really a good guy, not really a bad guy, but he has his own agendas and he's a little jaded, and he he's a very much I don't want to use the word tortured soul, but I want to say he's definitely a guy who he's been through shit, and that's why he's the way he is. But at the same time, he's real. Just tells you how it is, and he does what he wants, and it kind of allowed me to, playing this character through this mode is like one of the most fun things I've ever done. Just because it's me with way more confidence.
Yeah.
If it's almost like it's me without the self-doubt, without the insecurities I have. Just saying what the fuck I want, and that's what that character represents, and it's been great voicing him. So
it's just
and creating him.
It's just basically you if you had went to wrestling school.
Yeah, it's just me turned up to 12.
Exactly.
Basically.
I mean, that's how wrestling always is. I've talked to a good handful of wrestlers on this podcast, and that's always their mentality at the end of the day.
So, absolutely.
I mean, like it's good to hear that like. That is one way to let that creativity flow. And obviously another way to let that creativity flow kind of hints at it a little bit with the inspirations or whatnot, but just making those hilarious videos that you have on your YouTube. Jorge, I am not just glazing you. I am not sugarcoating it when I say this. You are one of the funniest motherfuckers I see when it comes to your YouTube videos. All right. Whether it's how you like what you say or like what you do in the video and like some of the edits you also put into it or whatnot, they are some of the best like gaming videos I have seen. What made you want to like buckle down and be like this is fun, I want to do this stuff?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I think it is a combination of what I said before, where like I was already playing video games,
Right.
I was already having these moments for myself, and I always had the entertainment bone in me. So I was like,
oh yeah,
if I could just record this stuff, maybe I could put a smile on some other people. I can make some other people laugh, because the world is hard. The world is tough, and sometimes we need a break.
Amen to that.
And that's really it just came from that. I was like, well, I mean, I make myself laugh because I'm silly or whatever. So
yeah.
I was like, if I could turn this up and do this within a time span, I think I can make some other people laugh. And that comedy is another thing. I'm a writer too, so I've written for different things, and I tried stand up once or twice. You know what I mean? So like I love comedy, so I love making people laugh. So doing that was always fun. And yeah, then it just became a passion. Like when people would kind of like engage. My only regret is that I wish I didn't completely delete those other channels. I wish I would have preserved those videos from like all the and I mean like all the way back in the day. I have some videos that are like privated now due to different reasons on the current channel I have now. But I wish I would have saved those other ones just for memory's sake. But yeah, man, it was always fun. It was always fun, and it brings me joy. Honestly, it makes me happy.
Good.
Just to know that at least some people are like can having a fucking rough day, and just put on a video for a couple minutes and just laugh and just take a break from the world, and so yeah, definitely for sure those are my inspirations.
No, absolutely.
For doing that.
I mean, I imagine that plus, like you said, growing up watching I wouldn't say growing up, but like at that one point watching like the gaming videos from like a Vanoss or a KYRSP. Seeing the fun and the humor that was presented in those videos or whatnot. You can't tell me that wasn't an inspiration for your humor.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my biggest inspirations, like YouTube wise, like for comedy, was Dashy XP.
Okay.
And Dashy Games. That's an OG for me.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Right? I loved him. Obviously, I loved Vanoss. I loved the crew and you know, and all them. Those are probably like the holy trinity, like them, like Dashi, Vanoss, and all them, and KR Speed and all like those guys. I fell into Let's Play stuff a little later. Like Let's Play wasn't always my thing. Like I was definitely more of a funny, like fast edits type of guy.
Oh, absolutely.
But I did enjoy that. I enjoyed like Markiplier at one point. You know, I did enjoy that guy. Actually, my favorite Let's Player at one point was the Rad Brad. I don't know if you've ever heard of that guy, but that guy's pretty cool.
I have heard that name before. I don't think I've seen much of his content, but I have heard that name before.
I mean, I haven't watched that guy in forever just because life's gone crazy. But like,
that's valid.
Yeah, those guys were like, my guys, especially Dashi. Like my single player humor, like when I'm like playing a game by myself, and that's pretty much a lot of just Dashi.
There you go.
Where that comes out, pretty much. That guy's is probably my biggest inspiration YouTube wise.
That is,
and then with friends, it's all Vanoss. It's all Vanoss. When it goes to my friends, yeah.
It does leave me curious though, because obviously I imagine you've had a while, like years of experience when it comes to the YouTube content itself or whatnot. You got to have a personal favorite video, or at least a personal favorite moment, because there's a bunch to choose from.
Oh man, personal favorite, son of a bitch. I probably so I will say out of what I have that's currently on YouTube.
Yep.
I don't know if I could say a favorite because there's the moments I love in all my videos. I'll be honest with you, but I will say there's a Call of Duty series that won't be completed, but that's on my channel that Bill Cal's actually in, and that was without getting into too many details, that was such a fun experience making those videos. It was so. I mean, I will say like those videos were probably the most fun to make, just because of how because I when I made those videos, you know, I mean, YouTube has gone through so many changes.
Yes,
you know, for better or for worse.
Yes,
you know, and for me, I think I was so obsessed with like just trying to make content that I felt that no matter what changes happened on the website, that it would feel nostalgic. It was fun. You know, I tried to give YouTube a little bit of what they wanted, but I also wanted to make content that I know people would like and have fun at the same time. You know what I mean? Whether it's the length of videos or whatever. And those videos to me feel like pure nostalgia. Like I feel like even watching them then when I put them out, it felt like Vanoss. It felt like those older videos that these days you don't really see that much of anymore because just the way society has changed, you know? So for me, I could watch those videos all day and I think I'll never get tired of them regardless of certain things. Those were some of the most like, and it's crazy too, because personally, like in my personal life, I was going through some rough fucking times. I was going through some real rough fucking times personally during when those videos were being recorded and being made. But the output of them being out, I'm so proud.
Oh yeah, no,
I'm so proud of those videos. And yeah, I'm so proud of those videos.
Oh no, absolutely.
At the end of the day.
No, that's extremely valid. I mean, I can understand, especially what is presented on the screen is different with how your mentality can be. But I mean, regardless of the fact that you're able to push that stuff out at the end of the day, and it being just fucking great at the end of the day. Like, goodness, I know with me, it's been more of your recent stuff I've been catching up on or whatnot. Like, for example, the Liars Bar video, that was absolutely hilarious.
No,
that one, you starting the Indiana Jones game or whatnot, especially the one moment where the villain pops up, is like, Candyman! Oh no!
Oh shit! Yeah. Yeah. For me, man, those the Indiana Jones, that was a big risk actually for me, like personally, because I don't again, it's something where, you know, just a thing where a lot of people have this, you know, I don't think by myself I'm that funny. You know, I think I'm funnier like in groups. So for me, it was like no. So but I'm glad that I just went in and jumped.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I just like. I didn't try to like back out of it. I just like, fuck it. I'm just gonna make these videos. I'm just gonna see what happens. If the engagement, if people like it similarly, then I'll keep doing it. Obviously, a schedule. You know, I don't have a schedule. I'm your Puerto Rican Corey Kenshin. I just show up whenever the fuck I feel like it, and you deal with it. You know what I mean? But like, you know, when I do, at least like in my opinion, the one thing I can say I'm most proud of is that when I do upload, it'll be memorable. I just need the fan base, you know, that I'm working on it. But like, you know, when I do upload, you know, you're in for a good time. You know, you're gonna laugh. You know, you're gonna have fun. So there it is. You know.
There you go. Absolutely. I mean, whether it be through the music, the wrestler stuff, the content creation, even nowadays, now you're getting the chance to do a lot more voice acting stuff as well. Like, there's certainly going to be an audience that's growing. I'm curious. I know you kind of hinted at it with the creator wrestler stuff, but when did you realize that voice acting was also something you wanted to pursue?
I think for me, it was a specific voice acting moment.
Okay.
I think. And it was a moment where I was watching an anime.
Okay.
And it was actually an anime thing too. Like it was a specific anime that I watched. And it was an anime by the name of Assassination Classroom. I don't know if you've seen this.
I've heard of it, but I have not like seen anything from it. Like the name sounds familiar, but that's the most I've heard.
It's a great anime, right? Now for me, when it comes to film, right? Because I'm also a big actor, love movies since I was a kid.
Okay.
I'm a fucking acting nerd, right? For me, the telltale sign of what's a great film is the emotion. Because to me, it's supposed to make you feel.
Yes.
You know, that's how I've always felt with everything. Music's supposed to make you feel. Art's supposed to make you feel. Period. That's how I've always felt. So my big, like, almost like little test is if I cry at the movie, you won in my book.
There you go.
And when it came to the anime, you know, at the time, you know, I'm not the super biggest anime nerd. I'm still learning, still trying to, you know, get my, you know. But I decided to watch Assassination Classroom, and I cried at the end of the anime.
Okay.
And it was the performance of the cast, the voice acting in that, I feel, is what made me cry. And then I realized that, you know, I had already been doing these. I already kind of dabbled in these things, and I went, I want to do that. I want to be able to convey that kind of emotion. I want to be able to make somebody feel with just my voice. And some people say, "Oh, you already did it with your music," but it's different with acting.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, I don't necessarily. I'm not a fan of being in front of the camera necessarily, but I love using my voice. I play with my voice in my music. I change my voice up all the time. So I was like, I want to do that someday. I want to be able to give it a performance so much that you are connected to the drawing on the screen. That's not even me, but I want to become these characters. I want to tell these stories. And I think voice acting is the best way for me to do that. Because that's where I'm most confident in, you know? Same thing with music. I, you know, like I said, similar, like I just said with the YouTube stuff, music, anything, because I'm the perfectionist that I am, when it comes out, it'll deliver. Yeah. And I know I will. I just have to get it there. You know what I mean? And like I said, I fell in love with voice acting after watching that anime, just with the, like, I want to do that. And then also meeting some cool people in the industry too. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give a lot of shout outs. Maven Celeste. She is an amazing person. I love her. I met her, another person I met through TikTok. I met her and she was a very sweet person. And I ended up in her Discord. I'm actually still in her Discord. I'm not as active in there, you know.
Right.
But she's a voice actress, and she's wonderful. She does a lot of narration. She started doing a lot of like more Patreon things, different audios from Patreon.
Okay.
And now she does a lot of audiobooks now. And she's a very sweet person. She actually did something for me that for the EP that I'm working on. She actually did a little voice acting, which is I'm happy for that. But she's an amazing person, and meeting people like her was another thing. Okay, now I have someone in the industry, you know, like my friend Malachi or Bitterman. He's a voice actor as well. Bill's a voice actor.
Yep.
Having all those, I think the collaborative sense of, oh, we're doing this and this is great and we can become these characters, also helped me feel secure in what I want to do. And yeah.
I mean, having all those connections really help you with like getting opportunities and such. Like, I know the most recent opportunity you've been able to get is by providing the voice of Bullet for our good friend Tay Draws. I mean,
oh yes, Tay, she's amazing. She's amazing too.
They are absolutely
she's
phenomenal.
an amazing person. Yeah, I was grateful. I mean, you know, I joke a lot that I'm always like, you know, I'll take any fucking role you want, you know, you have for me. But you know, either way, you know, the person still has to give me the role. You know what I mean? And she let me audition. And I actually, I don't think I auditioned. I'll be honest with you. I don't think I auditioned, but like we talked about it. I think I did a voice in the moment, and she was like, I like that. And yeah, she gave me the role of Bullet, and you know, because when she took, well, for me, the reason why I wanted to do it is I fell in love with the concept.
Right.
You know, I'm a big Has-Been Hotel fan. I'm a big Hell of a Boss fan already. So she was doing something, you know, similar, you know, with the Havoc and Hell series. And unfortunately, for other reasons, you know, the series hasn't gone off the ground yet. And I'm like, no, I want to help. I need to contribute.
Yep.
You know, for me, I'm the type of person who, yes, I have my own individual lanes of things I do, but I also love being a part of something bigger than myself. I love collaborating. I want to make something with other people. I love that aspect in any industry. So I was like, you know, the original voice actor had fallen out. And I was like, if I can add something to this, I was like, I would love to. Give me the opportunity. And she did. And it worked out well. And I'm like, I'm ready to go. And she could call me right now. And I'd be like, Post, I gotta go because we gotta start this show. You know what I mean? Let's do this. You know.
I will say, if you at least said, "Hey, I'm talking to Post right here," I'm sure they'd be like, "Oh no, you finish that first, homie." Like, I'm sure they would understand. Okay.
Oh no, absolutely. No, I was just messing with you.
I'll say we cool like that. We close like that. All right.
We in there.
We are in there like swimwear.
Absolutely. That's my line. I'm talking about.
Hey, I've said that before. All right. I don't see you have a trademark or copyright on that line.
I'm sending a cease and desist now to your fucking
motherfucker. All right.
Bitch.
I have more editing to do with myself. Hold up. No.
God damn it. Just hit cancel. Just hit cancel on the OBS. Fuck this shit.
Good night, everybody. No.
All right.
But like thinking back to like what you've been able to even just produce so far, whether it be the music for yourself or for others, like the different kinds of content and the different opportunities you've been able to earn or whatnot, like it's got to be both surreal to think like how far you have been able to come, but also like there's got to be that part of you in the back of your mind that's thinking like I'm only like scratching the surface. Like there's only so much. Like I've got so much that I want to unleash onto the world.
Oh, brother, you have no idea. If there's one thing if there's one thing that gets me going, I'll be honest with you, man, because I've been through a lot.
Yeah. And
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I don't want you to have to, you know, if you have to put a trigger warning, put it on. You know.
Okay.
I've dealt with suicide. I've 5 attempts under my belt, and I'm only 24 years old. I've gone through depression. I've gone through the hardships. I've gone through death. I've gone through, you know, in my family. I've been through many ups and downs. I've been through addiction. I've been through a lot of shit in my life already. And my opinion, you know, if the universe tried to hit me with all this already at 24 and I fucking got through it, then the sky's the fucking limit at this point. So, you know, I've always, you know, my name is going to be in everyone's household at some point. It's going to happen, whether it's through music, it's a matter of which industry it happens first with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At this point, that's how I feel. It's just I got to fight my own brain every day, and that's a battle I'm willing to fight every day because I know of the potential I have.
Right.
I know, and I know it's there, and you're absolutely right. I am scratching the surface, and I know I have the potential to be big myself, but also bring others with me.
I know, absolutely.
You know,
like
so. Period.
I mean, even then, with how much more you could potentially do, like even just thinking back to, you know, when you were growing up, getting first exposed to that kind of music or whatnot, or to the Stone Cold or you know, Macho Man or whatnot. Thinking back to then to where you are right now, thinking about your art journey as a whole, does it surprise you more or less, or is it kind of surreal to think how far you have been able to develop as an artist so far?
I think it is surreal in certain aspects. I think for me, it's I think it goes beyond the art. You know, I think because I'm like I was trying to say before, not to repeat myself, but I'm happy to be alive.
Yes.
You know, I'm lucky that I'm just even here, period. You know, so for me, it goes beyond just the art. I think that I'm proud of myself for sticking with it because I come from, let's just say I think a lot of people where I come from didn't follow their dreams or didn't achieve certain things. And not that they ended up living like lives that were shitty or anything, but like, you know, I know a lot of people, whether in my family or not, that I could ask, you know, what'd you want to be when you grew up? And their answer is not what they ended up becoming or not what they ended up doing.
Right.
And for me, it's entertainment. You know, yes, there's wrestling and there's different avenues, there's video, YouTube, whatever. But I've always wanted to be a big name. I've always wanted to be somebody that was bigger than myself. I've always wanted to be not a celebrity, but I wanted the respect of, I want to be one of the greatest rappers to ever touch a microphone. I want to be one of the best YouTubers to ever be on the page. I want to be one of the best voice actors to ever touch a mic. And I want to be one of the best entertainers that this world has to offer at the end of the day. And with all the self-doubt, all the self-criticism, all the walls I've hit financially, mentally, physically, it's surreal to know that I haven't given up and I'm still here. For me, the battle is beyond the art. It's with the person making the art. And the fact that I'm here, it gets surreal from that aspect, you know? And that's where I try to keep pushing at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It's incredible to see how far you have been able to develop as an artist or whatnot. But for this next question, if I may, I want to go a little bit above and beyond, if I may, and give you more or less the dream scenario. Let's say I am Big Shot Mr. Moneybags. I come up to you and I'm like, look, Jorge, we know what you've been able to produce. We've seen what you've been able to put out there, and we know there's something there. You just need a little extra push, a little extra platform to get you to that point, you know? We have access to everyone and anyone in whatever industry possible, and more money there should be possible. We probably should be making sure that, you know, more people that especially are dealing with like mental health stuff like that, they have ways to where they can be compensated and really help, you know, deal with that kind of stuff. You have better facilities and what. We'll focus on them in a little bit. We promise. But right now we are focusing on you and you alone. If given this opportunity, what would be the Dream Wild project?
The Dream Wild project.
Yes.
I think the main thing would have to be music, because I think that's what got me started in everything.
Okay.
If I had the Dream project, I think it would just be honestly just an album just with all my inspirations on it. You know, everyone who helped pave the way, everyone who helped save my life through this music. It would almost be like a DJ Khaled, except I do more work. And it would just be a big collaboration. No, I'm joking.
I was gonna say you would say more the DJ Wild.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but no. You know, I would love to do something like that. That would be the big dream album. You know, because to me, I think there's so many different people. I mean, I'm the type of person where I try to but like, I'm inspired by everyone.
Right.
Just about anyone who has the guts to stand in front of a microphone and record something. You know what I mean? Is everyone my favorite? No. But for me, you know, different artists, you know, if I, you know, songs with Eminem, songs with J. Cole, songs with Kendrick, like if I could, that would like just a dream cassette of just like having all these different artists on there as almost just like a thank you to hip hop, just a thank you to music, as a thank you to them. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't have to be no big concept. Just put a beat on and just let me just rip, you know, and see how I fare against the best. To me, who are some of the biggest names for me in my in the pantheon of hip hop, and not even necessarily that. I would love to, because my big thing is versatility. So I want to be able to feature on anybody's music, like with anybody. So like, I would love if like Disturbed left me an open verse. I'll do a song with Disturbed. You know, I want to do a song with 3 Days Grace. I want to do a song with Killswitch Engage. You know, I love Sleep Theory. I'm big into them right now. I'd love to do a song with Sleep Theory. You know what I mean? Like, let me do some crazy shit like that. You know, why not? You know?
I mean, I'll tell you what, with this whole entire Mr. Moneyback scenario, like, we have contact to all these artists, and they are guaranteeing that, like, yeah, we'll give you a song that we've got like partially done or whatnot, or we'll collab with you or whatnot, to where you can hop in on this bad boy and you can add something that is absolutely needed with this.
Yeah, but absolutely, you know, that would probably be like, in terms of a dream project, that's what it would be, some kind of music project where I could collab with all these great artists who helped make me who I am. Absolutely. Now, if we're just talking money, I would just like if we were talking just money, I would just ask for a big enough house for me and my kids and my girl, and so we could all be happy.
Well, I mean,
with a bigger house.
That's putting the details of the contract. We're not leaving that out of there, okay? Like that's,
I hope so, right?
But sadly, we do gotta get down from the dream scenario, and we gotta get back to reality. And I'll ask the ever so generic question: where do you hope to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years from now?
Jesus. Okay. 5 to 10 years. I really wish I had a better answer for this kind of question, because I think, because I'm very, like, I try to stay in the present as much as possible.
That's fair.
And sometimes looking too far ahead scares me, and I get paranoid.
Honestly, I'm the same way. I'll be honest.
For me, at the end of the day, I think whether it's 5 years, 10 years, I just want to be able to see my name in good places.
Mm-hmm.
See my kids with happier faces.
Absolutely.
And I just want to be able to look up my name one day, and it's also look it up and see that he did good things and he was part of things that were special. And honestly, at the end of the day, I just want the respect. You know what I mean? It's a lot about respect. I come from nothing. I feel like I come from, people who did all right.
Yeah.
But I want to see my names in places where people look at that and go, I respect that.
Yeah.
I want the respect of my peers in voice acting. I want the respect of my peers in YouTube. I want the respect of peers in music. I want to be able to do something bigger than myself. Something that I can pass down to my kids and kids around the world, and kids who are struggling, and the youth of today that feel like everything's fucking against them, and that everything is difficult, and that they feel like they can't get out.
Absolutely.
I think I want to be somebody like that. The suicide rate, in this country, the highest averages amongst 18 and 25. I'm still in that age bracket.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I know what it's like to be a kid feeling hopeless and without someone to just grab you and be like, yo, you're going to be all right.
Absolutely.
You're going to be fine. And those couple words are really the only thing that are stopping a lot of these kids from doing this shit. So for me, if I could be that person, if I could be that for somebody, that's what I want at the end of the day. If that comes with a bunch of money and success, sure.
Yeah.
We need money to live. I'm not one of those people that's like, money's not important, then fucking live in a box. But like, I understand that it's important, you know what I mean? Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's what am I doing with it? And I think that's all I think about when I think about a question like that, man.
No, that is extremely valid. It didn't, like, I wasn't asking, extravagancy or anything like that. Like, honestly, just having that.
I know.
just having that kind of like real mentality or whatnot. That's what I've heard throughout this podcast, and that's honestly the kind of response I expected for that kind of answer. And so I'm interested to see how it will lead to this final question that I have for you. As we start to wind down the interview, like I said, I got this one last question I want to ask. Obviously, you are deeply entrenched in art in one form or fashion. I mean, we've kind of touched this again. We've only scraped the surface and all the different hands of art that you've been able to dip your fingers into or whatnot. How important is art, not just for you, but for the world as a whole?
Oh man, I think art is the only. And I think a little more with music, but I think art as a whole, I think is the only proof of magic that we have on the planet.
Okay.
I think if anyone doesn't believe in magic, look at really good art, regardless of the art form. And the way it'll make you feel, that's the magic of it. The first time you heard a lyric that made you cry, you saw a movie that made you cry, you saw an athletic moment in a sport that made you jump out of your seat with joy.
Right.
That's the magic of it. You saw a painting that made you think. There was a performance that somebody gave in a film that you resonated. I mean, God, movies, film, and voice animation. You understand the whole art form of that is making us connect to characters who don't exist.
Yeah.
Is that not magic in and of itself? I mean, so for me, I without it, I don't. World would be a really boring fucking place, honestly. Without it. So
I think that is wonderfully worded, if I do say so myself.
Yeah.
Wild, that is
I
all.
wrote that down too. I wrote that down. That was not off the top. I'm lying to you. No, no, I'm joking.
Wild, that's all the questions I have for you. I've already showered you with Lord knows how much praise, but I want to shower you a little bit more because it's my podcast. I do what the fuck I want.
That's right.
Like I said, Jorge, ever since I first got the chance to know you, I knew you were something special. I knew you were something different more than anything else. Just like your humor and the way you carry yourself, and just the energy that you bring into a call more than anything else. Like, I could not get enough of it, and especially whenever I got a chance to see your stuff and explore your content or whatnot. Like, I couldn't help but just love the energy and the vibe. Whether it be the upbeat, silly, goofy, wacky, funny moments of your videos or whatnot, or like the very serious, like very personal lyrics that you put into your songs or whatnot. Like, I could tell how much of a complex individual that you are, and I appreciated not just how complex you were, but how real you were across all those different platforms or whatnot. Getting the chance to sit down with you right now and get a chance to really talk with you, like, I already gave you a lot of love and respect, man, but that love and respect is on a completely different level right now. Like, there is no roof that is going to stop the level of respect that I have for you, and there is no roof that is going to hold down whatever kind of talent and passion that you have, because genuinely, like, I know you said, where you hope to see yourself 5 to 10 years is that, people will hear that name and hearing them, wondering like, hey, they did, this person did good. I don't think that's going to happen. I know that's going to happen. All right. Like, I genuinely think if you just keep up what you're doing, keep being that real self in one form or fashion, and like really put yourself out there like you have been doing and then some, like, it's gonna click, it's gonna hit. I know it. I just know it, because you were that goddamn talented, you were that goddamn passionate, and you were that goddamn dude. All right, I fully believe that you're gonna be going places in one form or fashion, and I cannot wait to see. I am excited to see what's going to be happening next for you, man. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting yourself out there like you have been. And please keep up the awesome work, because I'm going to be by your side, root for you every single step of the way.
Thank you very much, man. The check just cleared, by the way. So now you can stop. No, but thank you. No, compliments are hard, but thank you. It means a lot. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Now, people may be wondering why exactly I have been gushing about you for the past hour and a half or however long we've been recording or whatnot. Go ahead and plug your stuff for the people at home. Where can people find you?
Oh, good Lord. Okay, so I go by Wild 2 V's, VVILD, on all music platforms. So you can find my music. My YouTube channel is Wild Plays Games. That's on YouTube. You can find that. And pretty much anytime I pop up any voice acting, it's either going to have my real name, that's Jorge Carlos Santiago, or just Jorge Santiago. But yeah, that's pretty much where you can find all my stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And if you missed any links or whatnot, I'll have them in the description below. I got you covered.
Oh yeah, so you know what it is, because I don't really use social media like that. I'm not really on it unless it's I'm making content. So thank you.
Hey, no, that's extremely valid. Do you have any final words before we sign off?
Any final words? I think this is a great podcast. I think you're doing good things, and I think this is good for the community. I think this is good for just giving, like you said, giving people a platform. I think a lot of people go without these days. Yeah. And these things are good for their cultures of all kinds, and I think you're doing great work, and you keep it up as well, bitch. No, I'm joking. No.
I was gonna say, don't worry, the check cleared as well. All right, I got you back on.
All right, good.
No, but thank you seriously for the kind words. I really do appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
With that, all I have to say is, for the people at home, if you can, please pay your artists.
Yeah, fucking dude. Let me tell you, dude, I'm not gonna lie. I'm wearing the same shorts for like 2 weeks, cause what's going on here? You gotta pay your artists, man.
Exactly.
Oh, also I gotta do this for KC. If you're first class, you're last. All right, that's it.
There you go.
Tell me what's wrong, tell me sparks in motion. Sing me a song, tell me your eyes can all open. Show me it all, pick me up in the car, you go where you used to call.
thank you so much for sticking around to the end. If this is your first time listening, I greatly do appreciate it. Wasn't it wild, the conversation I just had with y'all? I know you guys can boo me. Yeah, boo. Regardless, Jorge, if you've gotten up to this point, thank you. Thank you for being just a cool person in general, but also, like, thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm genuinely excited whenever it gets around this time and I'm able to actually do Amateur April, Like, I always like exploring deeper a little bit more about some of the artists that not many people really know about in the first place. I mean, obviously, if you look at the podcast on a week-to-week basis, it's not like I'm always getting, like, the biggest names or, like, the most followers or whatnot when it comes to the guests I bring on. But, like, especially with this year, the way that I have it set up, I think I have found quite possibly, like, the most niche guests possible. Plus, it helps that most of them, if they weren't already beforehand, like, a lot of them are good friends with me in the first place. Just based on, how cool of a person that they are in the first place. You'll notice those at least with the last two. Next week's is someone that I found while on portfolio day. But regardless, like, this is genuinely like an exciting time when it comes to booking guests. Because you never know some of the hidden gems that you can find out there and where they could potentially go. That's the one thing that's always, like, really exciting. Like, I'm always excited to see where these guests in particular could potentially be going. What their potential could be if they really take the opportunity to assert themselves. I guess it's just a matter of a wait and see, right? Regardless, I sincerely hope that for those that are watching this episode and all the episodes in April, and hell, any of the episodes that I've had in April. I mean, I got a specific playlist on YouTube that has all the Amateur April guests, if you want to go back and see some of the people that I've highlighted then. But whether it's these guests or just any of the guests that bring on the podcast, please make sure you support them. Like, show them that love and support. Because they deserve it, especially with how much they put themselves into this art. Show that love and support for just about any of the guests that we bring on this podcast, because I at least know they're amazing, and I think you guys, I'd like to hope you guys feel the same exact way.